Flintstones is one of the most iconic animated TV series of all time, and it held the record for longest-running animated series in television history, spanning 1960 to 1966, until The Simpsons would go on to surpass it 3 decades later. After its cancellation, the Flintstones would go on to resonate with future generations through reruns, syndication, and breakfast cereal, to the point where it warranted a video game adaptation 25 years after its run on TV ended. Released on the NES by Taito in 1991, The Flintstones, The Rescue of Dino and Hoppy sees you play as Fred Flintstone on an adventure to, as the subtitle suggests, rescue his pet dinosaurs. The premise is that Dr. Butler, a scientist from the 30th century made up specifically for this game, has traveled back in time to the Stone Age and kidnapped Fred's pets as part of his grand plan to display prehistoric creatures in his zoo. I guess by the time the 30th century rolls around, the human race still hasn't learned anything from Jurassic Park. Why am I not surprised? Now, I know there isn't a lot to choose from in terms of antagonists in the Flintstone franchise, but this whole 30th century scientist seems out of place for the Flintstone setting. Speaking of which, they include Gazoo, that annoying fucking alien from the last season of the show, as a plot device to get Fred to the future to rescue his pets. The situation is Gazoo has a time machine that's been dismantled by Dr. Butler and scattered all over the place. So Fred has to find all the missing pieces and bring them back so Gazoo can put it back together and send Fred into the future. It sounds very tacked on, and pretty unnecessarily so, too, because it's not like there's a shortage of ideas you can utilize in the Flintstones setting where you don't need a time travel gimmick, plus this asshole. In fact, the game proves this point by not even utilizing the future until the final stage after you've collected all the pieces of the machine. There's a good amount of variety of landscapes in all the stages. There's the jungle, an ice village, the general town of Bedrock, and although they had to make up a lot of enemies and bosses, it all fits in the context of the Flintstones universe, so you didn't need this weird time travel motif. I think this was all an excuse for a crossover cameo, because spoiler alert, George Jetson makes an appearance in the final stage. I know there have been crossovers between the Flintstones and the Jetsons in the past, but I would think if we're going to make a video game in the spirit of the Flintstones, we can exclude these novelty crossovers, and certainly avoid the Gazoo era altogether. Alright, that's enough bitching about the plot. How's the game itself? Well, as you've seen from the footage in this video so far, it's a standard side-scrolling platformer where you fittingly use your club for battering enemies. You get a wind-up function for the purposes of power, which will kill off some enemies much faster, but you do have to wait a little bit for the meter to charge. While the club is effective, its range is obviously not so great. That's where these long-range special weapons come into play. The slingshot will fire straight ahead, the stone axe will take on a high arc pattern, and the dinosaur eggs are explosives. These special weapons are not infinite, however. Your limitation is not based on ammo count, it's based on coins. Each time you toss one of these weapons, you spend coinage, which you can pick up from fallen enemies. You also gain special abilities down the road, like borrowing a dinosaur that lets you get a really high jump, the ability to fly temporarily, and the dive, which lets you swim. You use these abilities in the pause menu, and they're summoned by Gazoo, another excuse to get him on the screen. It'll cost you coins to use said abilities, and in some cases they're necessary to complete a certain section of the game, so you have to get them. You'll get these abilities by beating this asshole named Harry in the one-on-one basketball mini-games. You'll gain access to these mini-games along with the main stages too, for that matter, in the game's map screen between levels. It's still mostly linear. You're not getting to select any of the stages in any order you want like Mega Man, but it's a nice touch. Nobody ever complained about this in Super Mario 3 or Rescue Rangers. As far as special items go, you can find hearts that increase your health, coins for the special abilities, burgers that build up your power, cactus coolers that add an extra maximum hit point, but keep in mind that you do lose a maximum hit point each time you die, if you have more than the default of 3. And then finally, there's the extra lives. It's easy to control Fred for the most part, but his traction sucks. I really don't like the slide that he does whenever you stop or try to turn around. While this is realistic momentum-wise, it makes things a pain in the ass when trying to reposition yourself quickly when an enemy is coming up behind you. The animation just takes too long. Another pet peeve is when you need to make long-distance jumps off the edge of platforms. It doesn't happen often, but when you do need to make some of these jumps, there's a really fine line between coming up short of your jump or jumping too late and you end up just running off the edge. Thankfully, there's the climb function, where Fred will grab onto the edge of a platform and you can pull him up. It's a pretty cool mechanic, so you can explore rooftops and other general platforms that are above you. The only thing is, you have to hold A to keep your grip. I died several times before I got used to this. Even when you do, it doesn't feel as natural as it would if you automatically grabbed on, and a button would prompt you to drop down or climb up. The visuals are nice, especially in the first stage of Bedrock with all the familiar rock houses. It captures the feel of the Flintstones quite well. The character sprites aren't quite as good as what you'd see from Capcom's adaptations of licensed characters, but they're more than distinct enough to recognize who everyone is. Speaking of these other characters, you'll run into Wilma, Betty, and Barney along the way, and they'll each give you some advice, like how to defeat the upcoming boss or something, or they'll give you an item sometimes. They'll join your party in the map screen from here on out, making it seem like an RPG, but you'll never see them in the actual gameplay, just the cutscenes that follow, so they're just with you in spirit, I guess. All in all, Rescue of Dino and Hoppy doesn't break any ground, and it has its quirks and flaws, but it's a solid little pick-up-and-play platformer that'll hold you over when you're in the mood for a good old-fashioned platformer. So the game starts out with a cutscene of the family hanging out when all of a sudden, Dr. Butler comes out of nowhere in a spaceship, abducts Dino and Hoppy, and then goes on to explain why he's kidnapping them, I guess out of common courtesy or something, but then proceeds to blow up Gazoo's time machine and scatter the pieces everywhere, to make tracking him down more problematic. I guess another way would have been not telling him where, or should I say when, you came from. Fred says, "Fuck that, I'm gonna get them back," and sets out to collect all the pieces of the ship, and the game begins. You don't get the map screen until after this first stage, Bedrock. You've got some pretty generic dinosaurs early on to practice your clubbing skills on. Take them out, grabbing whatever coins they might drop, and use this seesaw to give you a boost by smashing it to get up here for an extra Fred. Move quickly on this bone bridge, it'll fall apart under your feet, and then you'll meet this bird that flies in a zigzag pattern and drops eggs that'll hatch and release little chickies that run after you. You'll come across this wheel with little rotating platforms, wait for it to swing around so you can leap across to the next ledge, and then you'll run into these homicidal cavemen trying to bludgeon you. Swing at them as soon as they get in your range. Slip down here and grab the burger, there's a heart on the other side, and ride the swing across the pit. These birds will peck at you from above, stop short so you can lure them down and wipe them out. You'll make your way down a hill, jump off the edge to grab the ledge, just try not to stampede your way down from the top or you might not react in time. Backing it up just a bit will give you plenty of distance for your running start. Use the seesaw to spring up here for a stone axe in this barrel and a heart in the next one, and you'll meet up with the boss, a dragon. He'll lean in, spit some fire, and then back away. Wait until he backs away, throw the stone axe, and then retreat to avoid the flames. Pretty straightforward, but if you're impatient and you just want to spam attack, be sure to monitor your health. After taking him out, you'll get the time machine piece, and it's on to the map screen where you can decide on a couple different paths. You can play your first basketball game for the jump ability. Might as well do the basketball game first and snag this ability now. Press B to bump Harry, or A to jump if he's taking a shot, and head in close before taking your shots by pressing A to jump and B to release your shot. After taking care of this, you could go straight to the jungle stage or take this path for a village stage, which leads to another stage and basketball game. You don't have to complete either of these in any particular order, but for the sake of this walkthrough, I'm gonna go this way first. Climb up here for a cooler in the barrel, and then you'll come across these assholes with guns. They peer back and forth before charging after you and firing, so get to them quickly and take them out before they get a chance to. Climb up here for a burger and a stone axe in these barrels, and then walk off the edge here and keep moving forward to grab onto the platform here for a cooler and heart in here. Climb all the way up here for a burger, just be mindful of these dickheads. Head down and into this nook for a slingshot, and then you'll encounter these guys on bikes. Swat away at them before they catch you off guard, and head down this way for a heart if you need it. Use the awning as a trampoline to get up here, grab a slingshot, climb up for another heart, and kill the birds along your way. Watch out for this guy hiding behind the door. It's easier to take him out with the slingshot than to jump over his bullets. Soon after, you'll drop down and land on a floating tub or something. Ride it along and hop off to catch back up with it, wiping out the barrels to pick up the items along the way, including an extra life on the small platform here. When you get here, it looks like a fork in the road, but there's really a wall on the lower path. Climb up to get around, and when you get to this platform, climb up to get back outside. You have the option to use your jump ability to get up here for a heart and a cooler. Hop across the bones, being careful not to slip in between into the spikes, and you'll run into Wilma, who informs you about the upcoming boss and gives you a stone axe. Right after that is the boss battle against this schlup. He slowly jumps around and takes swings with his club. Keep your distance and unload stone axes onto him. And if he gets relatively close, run underneath his jump to keep him away. So long as you do this, he won't be able to reach you. After finishing him off, you'll get another piece of the time machine, and you get the option of playing another basketball game or heading to the ice stage. Might as well go to the basketball game first, so you have the power of flight. In the ice stage, you get a cooler, burger, and stone axe in the barrels, but they're guarded by this asshole smacking baseballs at you. There's a lot of time between his shots, so get in there to take him out after he sends one your way. Just watch your footing, cause the traction on this icy terrain sucks. It's bad enough that you have to slow yourself down normally. Here it's a nightmare. So tread lightly throughout the stage, especially these narrow platforms. You'll find a heart and a slingshot in these barrels near the giant snail that spits out a slab of ice that will push you back. Quickly jump to escape its grasp if that happens. And soon after you'll meet up with Betty, who informs you of a mammoth that's blocking off some of the time machine parts. You'll meet up with these ice block heads. They'll spring back up to life shortly after you smash them, similar to dry bones in Super Mario 3. There's also a cloud that breathes an icy wind at you from above. Stay low to avoid it, and up ahead is an egg and extra life right by the wheel you'll need to take to swing your way back up. There's a heart in this barrel, and then you'll get some smaller wheels with spikes up on the ceiling, so you don't want to jump. Instead, walk straight off the edge as the platform is on its way down. Then jump to the next one when your platform is low so you won't hit the spikes. Walk straight over the pits here, you'll end up grabbing onto the ledge. Again, jumping is a bad idea here. When you reach the snail here, you're gonna get caught up in its ice attack. Just keep running, you'll get out of it. Just be sure not to jump or you'll hit the spikes. After dropping down here, there'll be a cooler in this barrel. Using the jump ability here will lead you to 4 barrels, 2 burgers, an egg, and a heart. To get through this seemingly impassable area, you need to duck your head down as you run and slide across. You'll continuously slide, just keep your head down until you get to the other side, and the mammoth boss is just ahead. He'll slowly run across the screen, get yourself some distance, and use the slingshot on him. Just watch out for when he stops and fires projectiles out of his trunk. When he gets close to you, jump over him. It's not easy because he's so huge, but he does travel slow, which should help you with the timing. The club isn't ideal because of its range, but if you don't have enough coins, you'll have to make do. So now, if you haven't done the stage yet, the jungle is next, and from here on out, it's a linear path. Kill the dinosaurs early on, and climb up here for a stone axe, and then hop across these logs. If you're in need of a slingshot, you can drop down here and pick one up. Soon after that is a massive fucking dinosaur that temporarily opens its mouth, revealing a barrel which contains an extra life. You have to smash it open to free the one up, but quickly back out because you won't have time to pick it up and get out unscathed in one full swoop. Scarf it up after it reopens its mouth again. Kill the flower here, and then you've got this snake wrapped around the tree. It'll strike quickly, so get close to lure it out and then kill it. After that, you'll run into some saber cats that'll charge after you, club them, and if you need the items, use the jump ability to get up here for a cooler and a heart. After that, you'll run into Barney, who tells you to ride the logs up the waterfall, and that there's some prick up ahead that kicked Barney's ass. He gives you the hint to send the coconuts back at him. Ride the swings across the pits, make sure that the swing maxes out of its rotation before you let go. There's not a lot of room for error here. Use the horn to slide across the next pit, and you'll have to jump up the logs. Use the rocks as a stopgap to wait for a better opportunity to continue your climb. Grab onto one of these floating logs, and take the dino jump up here for a cooler, stone axe, burger, and a heart before you face off with this Sasquatch motherfucker. He'll take intermittent jumps, and the landings will cause a pair of coconuts to drop out of the trees above, presumably. They could land in any spot, really, and because the ground is so high up on the screen, you don't have much time to react. Like Barney said earlier, you can hit the coconuts back at him, but it doesn't always work. They'll just fall apart sometimes. He'll also toss smaller rocks at you that bounce up. You can swat these away or run underneath them. Speaking of running underneath, when he's close to you, run underneath him right as he jumps, and take a swat or two at him before backing away so you don't get hit when he does another jump. Power swings work here too when you're able to get a good charge. After dealing enough damage, you'll take him out and move on to the next spot of the map, the third and final basketball game. Beat him, get the dive move, and it's on to the next stage. You'll meet some bats right away. Club them as they try to swoop down at you, and watch these rocks that drop down in front of you. Don't hesitate, just pass right by them, or wait for them to drop before moving on. There's no middle ground here. Then you'll find a heart in this barrel, but the gap is so low, it's almost not even worth the risk, although thankfully the spikes only take away a heart. Then you've got the skeleton that pops out of the wall and gives chase once you pass by him. Turn around and smack him if he catches up to you. Grab the cooler and burger in these barrels, and go through this door for an extra life, and then come back out to the main trail. Pull this handle down, and then quickly head through the gate before it closes. But then you end up in a room with a rush of lava that floods the place. So call up your power of flight, and fly to the top. You won't have time to get up here otherwise. Head through the door, grab the heart in this barrel, and pick up the egg in this one right after the skeleton. Drop down here for a slingshot, and then carefully slip down here, watching out for the collapsing bridge on your way to the door at the end. There are a handful of skeletons, bats, and these assholes with guns along the way. Climb up here for a burger, cooler, and 2 hearts, and head across the way for this mini-boss of a giant Frankenstein's monster or some shit. He's huge, impossible to jump over, and takes a lot of hits, unless you use the power shot. You wipe him out in one hit, so yeah, do that. Hop across the way here for a heart if you need it, and then back across and down for a door to the boss, this Dracula wannabe. He'll summon a bat before turning into a bat himself and flying to another perch. He'll do this continuously, heading from one corner of the room to the other, marking his way down to the ground. You can attack with the club as he passes by, and you can even reach him from below when he's perched up there if you get the right angle. You can also use stone axes to peg him off from underneath if you have coins to spare. Be mindful of the bats, take them out first before dealing with him, and after getting enough shots in, you'll take him out and move on to the next stage, which is underwater. Because you're submerged, you get longer jumps. Watch out for these sharks that line up with you and then torpedo in your direction. Give them a smash as they get close, and get the burger and cooler in the barrels early on. Jump up to take out the swimming squid, and then watch your footing on the smaller platforms with this slithering seaweed. Don't let it touch you, and club it to get it out of your way. Hop across the bubbles to get past the long pit, or you can use the dive ability to swim. This is optional. Slip onto this short ledge for a heart in this barrel, and when you get down here, there'll be more bubbles, although it's a lower ceiling, so this may be the spot you want to swim so you don't bump your head. Grab the cooler and burger out of the barrels here, and take a long leap to the next platform or swim. Slip down here for an egg and a heart in these barrels, and then back up to the linear path, climb up here, take out the ugly ass deep sea fish that swim by, and climb up here to exit the stage. No boss this time. Now that you're out of the drink, grab the burger and cooler, and you'll meet these kung fu fighters that'll do a slow run and jump attack. Club him quickly before he's able to. Then you'll encounter this guy wielding a bow staff that pole vaults over you and takes a few swings. Stay in the center of its arc pattern so you don't get tagged. Slip him some shots while he's in front of you, and with the right timing, you can hit him while he's in mid-jump. Slip down here for an egg. If you're confident in making the jump, go for it, or just skip it. There's a heart and a cooler right after. Climb up for a slingshot and stone axe, and then you'll come across this asshole wielding a sword. Actually, he has more than one because he continuously throws them at you. Jump over them and bash his skull in. You'll then run into these hopping umbrellas or some shit. Just whack them. Climb up here for a heart, and jump across the long pit of spikes. Climb up here and you'll teleport to the second half of the stage. Slip down here for a heart and a cooler, and then kill this poor bastard and steal his rickshaw so you can slide down the hill and end up landing on a ship. Climb up the sail for a slingshot and stone axe, and slip up the middle of the post for a couple of burgers if you need them. There's a heart back at the ground level at the tail end of the ship, and right after that is the boss battle with a kangaroo dinosaur hybrid. He'll spit flames, take swipes with his tail, and hop around very slowly. The club is a pretty weak choice against him because of the range. You can't get past him without taking damage, and you're in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation when you're up close to him. The tail will hurt you if you stay on the ground, and the flames will hurt you if you don't duck. So fuck that, use the slingshot or eggs. After taking him down, Gazoo finishes putting together the time machine, and it's off to the future, where the floors are mostly made up of conveyor belts, and you'll meet up with George Jetson, who points you to Dr. Butler's lab. The music in the stage is also the Jetsons theme, so yeah, we're in Orbit City, and these conveyor belts are really just people movers. Take the elevator up, and Dr. Butler cuts a promo on the big screen, talking trash to Fred. These hydraulic spikes will come crashing down, stay on the mover until they rise, and slip down to get the coolers and heart in these gaps, and duck down when the spikes come down, or you'll get crushed. Careful jumping over this pit, you don't want to hit the spiked ceiling, and when you take the elevator up, there are two options. Either take the low route and jump over the pits, or use the Dino jump to get up here to bypass all that shit. Although there is a heart down below. Take the elevator up, and you'll run into more hydraulic pumps. Only these push upwards, although you can still duck to avoid getting crushed. Take some long leaps over these pits, and use these chains to swing across the fire pits. Then you've got these springy robots that just hop back and forth, and these guys that shoot projectiles either up top or down below, depending on what it feels like doing. Stay back so you can have a little time to react accordingly, and then rush in and smash it. Climb up here for an egg and heart in these barrels, and then take the elevator up to the home stretch. Hop across these platforms and take the Dino jump over to this belt where you'll come across these machines, dropping the Hoppy robots. Kill them and grab the heart and extra life against the far wall. Then come back to where you were, scale your way down the platforms, grab a cooler and a heart in these barrels, and take the elevator up where you'll finally meet Dr. Butler. He'll take short steps and fire off a projectile from his big-ass gun. Duck underneath the attacks and wail away at him when he gets close. Not a lot of nuance here. After several hits, his gun is destroyed and he runs off into the next room, and now you battle him in this mechanical apparatus. He'll hop around and try to smack you with his, yeah. He's too quick for short-range attacks, so back up and give him some long-range special weapons, although you can spam him with the short range if you have some extra lives to spare, because whenever you do die fighting him, you'll start fighting him again at the form that you last left off at. After dealing enough shots, he hobbles away to the next room on crutches and takes control of this tank-like mechanism. He'll drive back and forth across the screen, periodically firing these laser rings. Get up close to him and take swings. You have to hit his capsule to do any damage. Most of his shots will sail right over you in this position, but he'll send some directly at you from here too. And there isn't much time to react to it, so spam attack or use exploding eggs if you have the coins. Once you break the glass, all it takes is one more shot and he's done for. Once the machine is destroyed, Butler tries desperately to crawl away, but Dino and Hoppy stomp his ass out. The family heads back to the Stone Age, and everything is right with the world. This wouldn't be the last of the Flintstones games on NES, as the surprise at Dinosaur Peak would be released in 1994, but we'll get to that one another time. And that'll wrap up this edition of Aqualung's Game Reviews. See you next time.